So recently I saw The Blackening, and this movie is a horror comedy movie that gives you the vibe of the early 2000s and late 90s, where you have movies like Scary Movie, Shaun of the Dead, and those parody movies that makes fun of like popular movies that actually came out before it just ran to the ground. But The Blackening is a perfect parody of horror movies that makes fun of dumb horror genius, but it also gives you the black experience. And this movie, it makes a parody off of Saw because we do see some Saw references in this film, but we also get to see some Get Out references in this film. And this film overall was just a huge laughter. This movie fits well if you have a crowd because the crowd makes it more times better with the experience and everything because of the fact that how much of this is a comedy. And the cast was very likable and very relatable because each of the time that you see this cast, you're just wondering like, oh my gosh, I hope they all survive because it was a really hard time to figure out which one is your favorite character in this film because they all have their moment to shine. They all have their moment where they makes you laugh. They all had their moments where it was just so enjoyable. There are times though that they are annoying, and there are times where some of their jokes did not landed. But overall, the cast is so likable that you just really enjoy them. And when it came down to the reveal of the killer, you pretty much know who the killer is because when you watch the first 20 minutes of this movie, because it just screams at you throughout the screen saying like, yeah, this person is the killer and this person is organizing this and everything else. And then once you realize why he's doing all of this, you kind of just look at him and you're just like, well, it was kind of your fault as well because no one didn't tell you to do this and do that. Yes, I do understand like them making you go into that point to point B, but at the same time, you could have controlled yourself and not go into point B that made you go into point C where you're in prison and you ruined your life. And the films with the jokes, it doesn't shy away on it. Like this film makes you feel like this is the early 2000s where they may just make fun of anyone and that they will just go into jokes that will be offensive. And I can see there's certain things where people will be offended by, but especially too when it comes to politics, because boy, this movie make fun of like significant, politics group, a certain politics groups. If you saw the trailer, then you automatically know. So yeah, but other than that, like this movie was just really funny because it just played into the concept of like, like it gives you like a trivia and they had to answer the questions right. And it was all about, like the black culture and stuff like that. But then like when you go into like the main story, like well, not the main story, but the middle of the movie where they actually have to pick who is the blackest, that one was like hilarious. And I think they just went through that. So it was just really funny how like majority of the movie was just pretty much was just like, yeah, you will live if you answer these questions right about like black culture, black knowledge, just all that stuff. But then it's just like, if there's time to sacrifice someone who is the blackest, then, you will live. And it was kind of funny because the whole group picked the person who is not the blackest. So it was just really funny how it was just like the killer says, like, hey, pick the person who is the blackest, not the person who is the least blackest. But apparently, the person who is the least blackest is the actual killer, which is kind of just a spoiler. But other than that, like the deaths were not very creative. They're very generic. So if you're looking for creative, cool kills, you're not going to get this in this movie. Yes, there are like five people who probably died in this movie. So yeah, count me on that. Yeah, no, there's five people, 5 or 6 people have died in this film. And so that's just your kill count for this movie. But other than that, like I will say go ahead and watch this movie. Watch this movie with the crowd. Don't go ahead and watch it by yourself, because I think it won't be 10 times more funnier, because, the crowd just made it more funny, because you can tell that everyone's just having a great time vibing. But I would recommend that you guys should watch it in theaters with a crowd. If my rating, I will have to give it like a 7 out of 10, and I will give this movie a B-. So let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this movie. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys did watch this movie, and what was your favorite parts, who's your favorite character, and all. But other than that, if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, or Mr. Monotone, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here. Peace.